Investigations, alerts, breaking news.
Catastrophe over Kern County. A pilot is dead after a spaceship crashes near Mojave. We have a live report coming up.
County officials rescind an evacuation order in Arvin, but residents say not so fast. Why they say they are not returning home just yet.
And a convicted killer learns his fate, why the man will spend the remainder of his days on death row.
Broadcasting live in high definition. This is KBAK Eyewitness News at 6.
Disaster in the desert as a spaceship crashes in eastern Kern County.
A pilot is dead and another seriously hurt after Virgin Galactic's Spaceship 2 crashed in the Mojave Desert. The ship went down near Red Rock, Randsburg, and Cannell Roads. You can see that area on this map right here on your screen. These are new pictures of the plane just before the crash. As you can see, there appears to have been an explosion in midair. Deputies located the first crew member who ejected from Space Shuttle 2 about 2 miles east of that location. He was airlifted to Antelope Valley Hospital with major injuries. The only other crew member aboard the vessel was found just south of the command post with a large piece of the aircraft. That person was declared dead at the scene.
I flew around the crash site. It's a large area. The aircraft is in several different pieces. We found one person who had obviously was deceased immediately. The other was transported to AV Hospital.
That was Sheriff Donnie Youngblood, an eyewitness to this tragedy, described the accident as something that caught him completely by surprise. Eyewitness News reporter Jose Gaspar spoke with that witness and is here with his account of the aftermath tonight. Jose?
According to the witness, his name Douglas Maciel. He lives in Mojave and is an enthusiast of the spaceflight program who follows the commercial space industry. So when he learned that there would be a flight today, he said he went out to follow it. Maciel told me he witnessed when Spaceship 2 dropped from the mothership and then ignited its engine. But then Spaceship 2 became enveloped in a white plume of smoke, and he said it started coming apart. And then this continued, he says, for the next 2 minutes as debris was falling to the desert floor.
I was pretty shocked. We saw one piece of debris hit, and there was a big cloud of dirt and dust, and then another one and a third one, and the debris site was scattered across one of the roads out there, and it had a small piece of the fuselage, it had parts, it had a seat with one of the pilots still strapped inside, which was pretty upsetting.
The accident remains under investigation and is expected to take an indefinite amount of time. Courtney?
Thanks, Jose. With hundreds, including many celebrities, putting down $250,000 apiece for a short ride in space, what does this mean for Virgin Galactic's program?
Well, that's a question many are asking tonight after today's tragedy in eastern Kern County. Eyewitness News reporter Lexi Hotelling is live now in Mojave to show us what's next after this major setback. Lexi.
Well, unfortunately, not everything went as planned here today. This is the second crash to take place this week for U.S. space companies. Despite these setbacks, Virgin Galactic is still moving forward. They feel like they owe it to the crew, testing community, and all the people who worked so hard on this project to move forward. Space is a hard and complicated industry. Right now, the area of the crash is being secured, and the National Transportation Safety Board will arrive tomorrow. The investigation is expected to take several days. Again, the primary concern is currently for the crew and family. One of the pilots was declared dead, and another is suffering major injuries after being transported to AV Hospital. Despite this setback, officials urge the incident not to derail the future of the space industry. The plane has been tested on the ground and went through qualification series. The crash was an unexpected loss for everyone working on Spaceship 2.
But when we have a mishap from the test community, we find that test community is very small. And we are human, and it hurts. And our hearts, thoughts, prayers, absolutely with the families, the victims.
Future rests in many ways on hard days like this. But we believe we owe it to the folks who were flying these vehicles, as well as the folks who've been working so hard on them, to understand this and to move forward, which is what we'll do.
The investigation will continue over the next couple of days. We're hoping to learn more about how the accident took place and how to prevent crashes like this from happening in the future. Reporting live, this is Lexi O'Telling. Back to you.
Thanks, Lexi.
Meanwhile, Virgin Galactic founder Richard Branson is also responding to today's tragedy. In a tweet sent this afternoon, Branson said, quote, "Thoughts with all Virgin Galactic and Scaled. Thanks for all of your messages of support. I am flying to Mojave immediately to be with the team," end quote. Miles?
Courtney, big changes coming in the weather. Right now it's kind of calm outside. The winds are very light out of the northwest at 8. We have clear skies, but things are about to change just within the next few hours. I'll show you on radar in just a moment. 71 degrees now, good air quality, and like I said, those winds fairly light. Snow in the mountains. There'll be a big problem up in the high Sierra to the north of Kern County. Got a winter weather advisory in Tulare County. And that is for some significant snow there. But right now you can see the wall of rain. It is making its way from the west to the east, part of a big system that extends well into the eastern Pacific. Here's where the rain is right now. It's just making its way into the San Luis Obispo area. Not quite into Kern County, but just give it a few more hours. We're probably going to see about an hour from now, western Kern County. And then between 8 and 9 o'clock right here in Bakersfield, we'll be seeing some significant rain for the first time in a long, long time. Temperatures in the 70s now, 69 in Taft and 50s in the Kern County mountains. Here's some more temperatures. Right now 60 degrees in San Luis Obispo. The rain just now beginning there. Temperatures are definitely down from yesterday's stellar levels. We were up into the 80s yesterday. There's the cold front. You can see that's the first part of a two-part system. That little dashed black line behind it is a trough of low pressure that will be coming through after that. It should be okay through 7, maybe even 8 o'clock tonight, but by 9 o'clock rain will be arriving for sure here in the valley. And for the football games, it looks pretty good to begin with, but rain will be spreading from the west to the east, beginning about 7:30, 8 o'clock tonight and marching right through the evening hours. So I think we'll get most of what we're doing tonight done before the rain arrives from the west. Temperatures in the 60s will drop down into the 50s with a good chance for showers. Locally heavy rain possible here in the valley tonight, and in the Kern County mountains even heavier rain. Could see more than ½ of an inch of rain in many of the mountain towns, and snow down to the 5,500-foot level by tomorrow morning, accumulating snow 2 to 4 inches above 6,500 feet. I'll have the full forecast coming up in just a few minutes. Back to you.
Thank you, Miles. The parents of an infant who died have been arrested tonight. Yesterday, Bakersfield police responded to a call of a deceased 3-month-old. When they arrived, the father of the child, 25-year-old Eddie Leyva, took off with his 2 other children. Leyva was found a short time later and arrested for 2 outstanding warrants. Last night, the mother, 30-year-old Vanessa Wolf, was detained. Leyva was also charged with child endangerment. A preliminary autopsy today showed the 3-month-old infant was malnourished, dehydrated, and had evidence of physical abuse.
Arvin families evacuated from their homes months ago want more testing before they'll feel safe to go home. As we first showed you last night, the Kern County Fire Chief lifted the evacuation orders on the 8 houses. But Eyewitness News reporter Carol Ferguson shows us what more the county is doing. Carol?
The homes were evacuated back in March because of a leaking underground gas line. Today, 3 families tell me they won't go home until there are more tests for toxic chemicals. The county says they're working to get those done. The 8 houses line one side of Nelson Court. Last night, families got letters from the fire chief that the evacuation order was lifted, but I'm told he had to do that because his order was only based on the immediate threat of explosive gas, and that's been cleared. But the families want more assurance about levels of toxic chemicals. Some believe that's what's caused health problems for a long time. The company owning the gas line had tests done for chemicals, but the county has hired an independent company to recheck. Those findings will then be reviewed by state experts. County Environmental Health Director Donna Fenton says these chemicals can be present in small amounts, but in these homes,
what we're trying to accomplish is that they're the same as the exposure you and I would have in our own homes, that there's not any elevated risk for them because of the pipeline release.
Fenton says they'll meet with the residents next week, and they hope for results from these new tests in about 4 weeks. Meanwhile, the company owning the gas line says they'll continue to help the evacuated families. Back to you.
Thanks, Carol. A convicted killer is sentenced to death. Francisco Beltran Jr. killed Ruben Tafoya back in January of 2010. The district attorney's office says Beltran was an active member of a gang, and the shooting is said to have happened over an act of perceived disrespect by the victim. Last October, Beltran was convicted on charges including first-degree murder. He was sentenced to death after a motion for a new trial was denied. A scary situation for a Washington, D.C. cop, how this axe ended up in this squad car window.
A Northeastern nurse gets her day in court, why she is now able to leave her home in peace.
And it'll be the most famous cold front of the entire year. It's coming through in just a couple of hours with rain, mountain snow, gusty winds. No problems over the grapevine, but some much-needed rainfall. We'll talk about it coming up.